We're back with our politics lead. President Trump throwing his weight behind a Republican candidate for Senate, a candidate that many other Republicans call too extreme. This morning, Mr. Trump fully embraced Corey Stewart, celebrating Stewart's primary win last night, writing, quote, "Congratulations to Corey Stewart for his great victory for senator from Virginia. Don't underestimate Corey. A major chance of winning." Stewart's nomination has alarmed many Republicans in Virginia and elsewhere. After all, one of Stewart's primary opponents, Green Beret combat veteran Nick Freitas, had urged Virginians to, quote, reject Corey Stewart's dog whistling of white supremacists, anti-Semites, and racists. Stewart is known for his championing of Confederate symbols and his ties to several unrepentant bigots, including organizers and participants in the Charlottesville rally last year. Here's Stewart in 2017 at the so-called Old South Ball.
Bring that flag out here. I'm proud to be next to the Confederate flag. Over my dead body when I am governor of Virginia, are we ever going to take down the statue of Robert E. Lee or Stonewall Jackson?
After that speech, Stewart proudly accepted the endorsement of Richard Hines for his gubernatorial campaign. Hines is a leader of the neo-Confederate movement who has attacked UN Ambassador Nikki Haley as, quote, South Carolina's Sikh Hindu governor, who he said had, quote, opened a Pandora's box of cultural genocide against all things Southern by Haley having the Confederate flag removed from the South Carolina Capitol. When CNN asked Stewart about Hines's endorsement last year, Stewart said he was, quote, not going to apologize for standing up against the oppressive political correctness the leftist media uses in its impotent attempt to silence their political opponents. Now, before that white supremacist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia last year, Stewart made several joint appearances with Jason Kessler, the white nationalist who organized the rally. Here are the two together in 2017. After that rally, in which a counter-protester, Heather Heyer, was killed by a white supremacist, Stewart blamed both sides.
You never hear about the violence that was committed by the left. Now, there was a whole lot of left-wing agitators who went down there. There were left-wing politicians who showed up and decided that they were going to contribute to the violence.
Stewart even told the Washington Post that no apology was needed, saying, quote, all the weak Republicans, they couldn't apologize fast enough. They played right into the hands of the left wing. Those Nazi people have nothing to do with the Republican Party. There was no reason to apologize. And that's just two of Stewart's concerning ties. Last year, defending Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore, after Moore had been credibly accused of sexually assaulting teenage girls, though Moore denies it, Stewart also revived the racist birther conspiracy against Barack Obama to promote a different conspiracy theory, saying, quote, the Democrats got cocky forging Barack Obama's birth certificate, thought they could slip phony all-red yearbook fraud by on Moore for Senate. Sad. Now, many Republicans today are distressed about Stewart's victory. Senator Cory Gardner of Colorado told CNN that the National Republican Senate Committee, the group he chairs, has no plans to endorse Stewart. But it remains to be seen if any of this matters. After all, this is a man, Stewart, who called Republican gubernatorial nominee Ed Gillespie last year a cuckservative. A cuckservative. That's an insult that Virginia Republican Party Chairman John Whitbeck last year told the Washington Post is, quote, not acceptable in political discourse under any circumstances, noting that the term is, quote, used by white nationalists. Those white nationalists use the term, which combines cuckold with conservative, to suggest that Republicans who condemn racism like to watch their white wives cheat on them with black men. That's what the term means. Normally, Republicans in Washington, D.C. would distance themselves from the stink of such a candidate, but now Stewart has the most powerful Republican in the nation rooting for him, President Trump. If there's one takeaway today from last night's key Republican primary races across the country, it may be tread lightly when it comes to taking on Trump. But what might that mean for the midterm? CNN's Tom Foreman has more on the Trump effect in full force.
I'm running for Congress to get things done, not to go on CNN to bash President Trump.
In South Carolina, Republican Katie Arrington rode her praise of President Trump to a swift primary victory over incumbent Congressman Mark Sanford, a Trump critic. The final push coming 3 hours before the vote. Mark Sanford has been very unhelpful to me. Vote Katie.
It may have cost me the election in this case, but I stand by every one of those decisions to disagree with the president.
Thank you, Virginia!
In Virginia?
Want to stand with President Trump? There's only one choice.
Corey Stewart took the Trump train to victory by adding tough talk on immigration to his already controversial support for Confederate memorials, prompting celebration from the White House and sadness from a former lieutenant governor. I am extremely disappointed. This is clearly not the Republican Party I once knew. And just a week ago in Alabama, another incumbent Congressmember, Martha Roby, was forced into a runoff, fallout from her criticism of Trump. At the Capitol, Republican Speaker of the House Paul Ryan is trying to brush off the Trump effect.
That's just what happens in contested primaries.
But while just over 40% of Americans approve of the president's performance, among Republicans that number is more than twice as high.
Donald Trump's popularity with Republicans is unprecedented.
We're in a strange place. I mean, it's almost it's becoming a cultish thing, isn't it?
Tennessee Senator Bob Corker complains that now his party won't even back measures it supports unless Trump does too.
We might poke the bear. The president might get upset with us as United States senators.
For some Republicans, the trend is a seismic, unwelcome, and unwise shift. But in the primary winners' circle, the message is different. Get over it, get in line, get used to it.
We are the party of President Donald J. Trump.
Whether Trump can now push some of these primary winners to general election victory is very much in doubt, especially in more moderate districts. But within the party, all the old litmus tests about ideology, taxes, abortion rights have virtually disappeared, and they've been replaced with one question alone. Are you for or against Donald Trump?
And for means no criticism whatsoever.
Yeah, none. Not little bits, not light criticism,
None at all.
not moderate, nothing.